In the Cyclone. So the pressure is on for Iowa State to have a winning record down the stretch here, but I don't think it happens today or on Saturday. Give me the Sooners to win and cover, my friend.
All right. Lock it in.
Another road team. I don't like it. I don't like how my picks are unfolding this week.
That's true. You took Syracuse. I mean, you only took TCU and Oklahoma so far.
We're at 3. No, I have Ohio State.
Too. That's true. You didn't take Kentucky. That might be the road dog you should have taken. Keeping it moving. 3:30 CBS, world's largest outdoor cocktail party. Georgia, Florida. The Bulldogs are a 22-point favorite in this one. I want to say I heard that was the largest Georgia's ever been favored in this matchup. Since 2000, there have been 5 games where Georgia is top 10 and Florida is unranked. Georgia is only 3-2 in those games. However, they're 2-0 under Kirby Smart in such games, and they're winning by 31 points per game, which would be the 2017 game and the 2021 game. So it's hard to say. Crazy things happen in Georgia, Florida, but it feels like this rivalry that for so much of my life was just dominated by the Gators. It feels like the turntables have turned. Georgia's won 4 of the last 5 in this series. Florida actually, so who does this team sound like? Florida leads the SEC in yards per carry so far this year. Kind of surprising, especially with how bad they've been throwing the ball. So this game is at a neutral site. There's an athletic quarterback, and there's a team with basically, you could say an elite running game, statistically. I'd say that pretty much describes the Georgia-Oregon game. A athletic quarterback, a neutral site, and a dominant running game. And Georgia absolutely smoked Oregon. And I think Bo Nix is a lot better than Anthony Richardson. And he's definitely played a lot better in 2022. So that's probably the best comp for any team that on Georgia's schedule to compare Florida to. And you've just seen under Kirby Smart, these teams that have athletic quarterbacks that are kind of limited passers. Like Georgia just has so much speed on that second level with the linebackers. They don't ever seem to really give Georgia problems like they really seem to always give Georgia problems under Mark Richt. But yeah, I just don't see Florida moving. I think the only way Georgia doesn't score 40 in this game is if it's like a 31-0. Like if Florida's at single digits, you could just see Georgia just call it quits at 35-0 or something like that. So Georgia's one of 2 teams in college football. I feel like we kind of like Tennessee's the sexy team. Ohio State's got all the NFL players. Bama is Bama. I feel like Georgia's kind of being overlooked. There's only 2 teams in college football this year that are in the top 10 in points per game offensively and points allowed defensively, and that's Georgia and Michigan. So Georgia's scoring, averaging 42 points per game this year. Their offense has been really explosive. Stetson Bennett, only 7 touchdowns, but he's taking care of the ball, completing 70% of his passes. This Florida defense has not stopped anybody. I think they're either last or second to last in pass defense and run defense. I think Georgia's gonna take care of business. Probably like a 42-7 kind of thing. I think this one might get ugly.
Definitely a possibility for that one. I think it's weird that Georgia's last in the SEC in sacks. I don't know why that is. Only 7 sacks this year for the Dogs.
Especially because their pass defense has been really good, but not creating as. I mean, they have gotten some pressure, but not getting the sacks. And obviously, part of you see with the defensive line that just left for the NFL, it's hard to bounce back. And Jalen Carter is another one that's been out that could be healthy and could return for this one.
Dan Jackson also out for the year, right? Safety.
Yeah, he is out for the year, and I think I've heard AD Mitchell, he's been day-to-day for like 3 or 4 weeks. And it's sounding more and more like he's not going to play in this one. So
Hmm.
we'll see what happens. Dan Jackson, he wasn't a starting safety, but he got a good number of minutes. He got that great block on the final on Keely Ringo's touch on his pick 6 against Alabama. I don't know if you saw he at like the 5-yard line.
Oh, is that Dan Jackson?
Gets absolutely decleated by the Alabama, but he got in the way, and that's all that matters. He's on the field for such a historic play in UGA history. No one can ever take that away from him.
There you go.
Gainesville High School, I want to say.
Interesting. Go Red Elephants.
Red Elephants.
That's interesting. Also, but the Florida is number 1 in sacks allowed, so they're averaging 5 sacks a game. And I also think this will be the ultimate thing for this game. UGA is number 1 in only giving up 1 rushing touchdown this year total. And I think Florida, just being the team identity they are and not having the guys outside of Pearsall out wide to challenge this young, or not even young, like the corners aren't young, Keely Ringo and company, I think they're going to be fine with the Florida receivers out wide, and Florida's going to try and run, and I just don't think it's a matchup that works. Like, Florida was able to pick Tennessee apart through the air and keep that one close because of that. I just don't think the same will be true for Georgia. Georgia's corners are so much better. I don't see it. I don't think that's how this game goes. So I think Georgia wins big in this one. I think this is a blowout. Yeah,
I think so. I'll change it. I think it's more of a 34-7, maybe not 42-7, but I think 34. That may have been the exact score.
I'm gonna go 38-17 or something. Let's go 38-17.
Okay. So 38-17. That means you're taking Florida.
Oh, I guess so. Yeah, 38. Let's do 38-14 then.
Okay. So you're taking Georgia to win and cover.
I can see a garbage score. Like, that's going to break this a lot. It's like the game's over, but they have a garbage touchdown on the Dogs late or something.
Which is basically exactly what happened in 2017 and 2021. And I think that's the one thing, because you've heard people talk this week, certain Georgia players, about like previous players talking about the importance of the rivalry. And I think it was Chris Smith that said like Kirby Smart was the one that told him the importance of this rivalry. Like Kirby Smart, like this is like, as much as like Alabama's kind of becoming Georgia's biggest rival or whatever. And obviously Georgia and Florida aren't in the same position as programs right now. We went through way too many bad years in Jacksonville for this to not be the number 1 rival. And so Georgia just will never overlook that. And I think because those other 2 teams just barely missed shutting out Florida, I think you're definitely going to see Georgia, Kirby and the gang try to keep it on in the fourth quarter if they can and finally get a shutout in this series.
I like it. Where are we going next, Matt Green?
Keeping it moving. Oklahoma State at Kansas State in the Little Apple. The Wildcats are a 1-point favorite in this one. Oklahoma State just can't get any respect, man. They're ranked higher and they just consistently not favored. Texas, now Kansas State. So I look at this game, and Oklahoma State hasn't stopped anybody this year. I think we've both seen that. They've got 3 straight wins in this rivalry, or in this series, I should say. Last in the Big 12 in total defense this year. And Kansas State has the top rushing offense in the Big 12 this year. I think when you don't have a defense, that's a team that's hard to travel. You don't know what you're getting week in and week out. And if Kansas State is able to run the ball as well as they have all year, which it's hard to see Oklahoma State stopping anybody, I think I see Kansas State winning this one. So give me Deuce Vaughn and the gang to pull the upset in Manhattan, Kansas. This is going to be a rowdy environment.
Even though Adrian Martinez doesn't affect you?
No, they'll figure it out.
Will Howard's going to be under center.
The guy that played, that started a couple years ago, right? Because that's who came in last week.
Yes, and I think he's